Hi guys, and welcome back. And what we're going to talk today is we just have three questions to answer. So I am just going to bring right now, if I can see them. Uh, Sorry. Okay, so uh, first question was, do you recommend doing harder sessions with carbon fiber plated shoes? I kind of stopped using them for any training for the last 6 months. 6 months plus due to injury and only using them for races. As well as the physical benefit, there's definitely a physiological benefit on race day when you're not, yeah, like psychological, that should be, sorry, psychological benefit on race day. That is definitely true when you're not using it, wearing them. However, would I do less damage, recover faster if I use them for my harder training runs? I've read mixed reviews on using them for training as well as races. Really good question. I think a mixture of both is the best approach. Why is that? Well, I always say the first time I used to, like, when they just came out, I bought a pair and I was only going to use them for racing, which I did. And then the week after, my quads were like I had DOMs in my quads that I never had. And that kind of said to me, it's like, oh, I'm using different muscles wearing these runners than I would normally. So after that, then I tried to use them a bit more. There are pros and cons of using them. So obviously, um, some of the cons will be like your muscles will start to decondition a bit. There can be, even though they can help reduce injury in certain things like Achilles and calf issues because there's less like eccentric demand, like the muscles are being used less. That can lead to muscle deconditioning, as I said, but it can also lead to other areas like high hamstring can get way more overloaded um, with the carbon fiber plated shoes than ever before. See way more of that now with those shoes. So I think doing like your harder sessions, yes, in the carbon fiber plated shoe, doing your easy runs, and then doing like some tempo runs and some easier kind of workouts in your normal shoes or non-carbon fiber plate shoes would be definitely the way to go. If you're like, um, I really like the psychological um boost of wearing them and the physical boost, I would then maybe just do them for um pre-race workouts. So for example, in that case, I would say about 3 weeks out, you'd want to start wearing them once a week for your training sessions. Okay, so maybe you have a hard workout 3 weeks out, then you have your midweek workout, then again another hard workout. I'd wear it there, and then I might wear it just a week of it. Again, I'm getting ready for a 1500. Haven't done one in a good while, but I used the spikes last Friday when I did my workout. So I did another workout today. I just actually did them in the carbon fiber plated shoes. But on the Friday, I did them in my normal shoes and then switched into the carbon fiber plated shoes. And my calves were like super tight after that, because I'm not used to wearing them. So if I did that for the race, it could be a big overload. And again, the calves aren't adjusted, whereas that should give me plenty of time to readjust and get used to the new stimulus. Yeah, so that's kind of what I would do. I think you're dead right. There's cons. I know guys who wear them a lot and get injured because of wearing them. And then conversely, I know people who wear them and it's sparing them a lot. So I think a mixture of both is probably the best. If it was just me, I wear them like once a week in training, and then the other training session I try not to wear them. If you're someone who on the siding on the error caution, or if you only have one pair, say if you're someone's like, look, I wasn't even going to buy a pair, but I've listened to you and I kind of understand if I want to be running PBs, I need a pair of these, but I don't want to be spending 150, 200, 250 euros on these type of shoes. Then I would just do pre-race, like two workouts. So like 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, maybe one early in the week, or just leave it off and then just use them for running. Because again, a lot of these shoes can only hit about 150 to 250 kilometers max. So you don't want to absolutely wear them out. Now, for me, I have a pair. I have a pair of ones I train in, and they're way older. And then I just have a pair that I use for racing that are a lot fresher. And then that way, I'm used to the running. But again, a lot of people mightn't want to do it. So they would be my recommendations. I would say, if all things considered, I think like once a week in the carbon plated shoes for one training session a week for your harder training session is a good idea. That could be for your long run if it's a marathon type base. Um, that could be a long run if it's a marathon type base that you're doing, because just get used to those shoes that you will be wearing on the day. I think there is an adaptation. I think they use the muscles differently than a normal shoe without the sponge and without the plate. So you want to have it that your body's a bit adapted to that. You don't want to be going into the race like not even just like, blisters or anything from not being used to the shoes, like actually using different muscles, or you want to be having to train the way a little bit that you're going to be running. And I think that will really help. Um, then then I do think though, like sparing them a little bit, maybe once a week, allows more of an adaptation, and then using your other shoes during the week will allow that offload that we're not getting relying on them. The foot muscles aren't getting like super weak or anything like that. Okay, can I still do well in a marathon? So question 2 then, can I still do well in a marathon, half marathon? Oh, sorry, and just to recap on that again, if you're using those shoes, there's kind of 3 scenarios. 1, use them once a week, and then use your other pair of racers for your other session. 2 would be if you only have 1 pair and you don't want to buy another pair. Remember, they only last between 150 and 250 kilometers. So you might just do a couple of pre-race sessions. So say 3 weeks out, you might do 1 session in them. 2 weeks out, you might do another session in them. And then obviously do your race in them, and then go back to your normal shoes. Okay, so I think that's the 2 scenarios that you can do. Okay. Do you know what? I have not had a lot of water and I'm kind of feeling it now. I'm feeling like a bit dizzy, but I'll get through this. Can I still do well in the marathon, half marathon, if I cut out the fast intervals, e.g., 200 meters, 400 meters, 1 minute intervals, etc.? Will replacing these short intervals with more extended tempo intervals, e.g., half marathon pace? Oh, someone's in. Let's pin myself. With half marathon pace, sorry, that just threw me. Give me enough benefit to get near enough my best. Okay, good question. I imagine you don't want to do the faster intervals because of an injury risk. Because if it's a half marathon schedule, I'm going to try to just bring one up if I have it. I should have. Do you know what? I'm going to pause this recording so I can bring it. Okay, yeah. So I'll just be bringing up that train in a second, but just remember, right, there should be kind of 3 main elements that we're hitting in our training to do our best on the day. Okay. The first is we need our VO2 max, and running economy essentially, right? So with our VO2 max and our running economy, they do improve by doing the faster intervals. Okay, so cutting them out, it's much harder, right? So the big thing of cutting out your kind of 1 minute intervals or your hills or your like 15-second strides is that your running economy can suffer. So there's 2 main elements. One is the running economy. When you go faster, because you're running faster, your body has to kind of work out a way to run smoother. And then that like kind of like a waterfall cascades down to the slower events. Okay, so because we're running faster, then we learn how to run easier, which helps us when we're running longer, we can run with less energy. The second thing is like kind of physically, psychologically, say if you're used to doing like 1 minute intervals, or say you're doing a half marathon, I even say for marathons, having some 5K or 10K work in there because your body is able to run a little bit faster. Now, I'm not talking about flat out sprinting, but because your body's running a little bit faster, you then, the pace that you run the half marathon in doesn't feel like you're sprinting. The problem is if you only do a lot of half marathon work, like that threshold type work or longer runs, when you get, say you're doing longer, easy runs to get around it, when you go to race, the pace can feel really fast early on. And then it's very hard to get comfortable at that pace. And it's very hard to like push on. Whereas if you have a bigger capacity, so say because you've done some of the little faster stuff up here, when you're running, which is slower, it feels slower, and that allows you then to get into it. Now, that being said, obviously you need a lot of the half marathon stuff, and I'll just bring up the training, like an example of training that we can do. So, there's two things I'm taking from this. So can I do well in a marathon or half marathon if I cut out fast intervals? 1 minute intervals, 400, 200s. Will replacing these short intervals with more extended tempo, e.g. half marathon pace, still give me enough benefit to get near enough my best? Now, if I replace this with half marathon pace, will this give me enough benefit to get near my best? You need both in there, right? And yeah, so just to say, if we're talking in general here, you should have both in there. Now, if you're getting injured, so say the only reason I can think you would say I want to cut out there shouldn't be much 200-meter work in there anyway, or 400-meter work really. The only reason I can think is if someone was like getting injured doing faster work. Laurie's not here, but she's a demon for this. Where what you're doing is you're doing the faster work way too hard. So that should still stay in there. But like in particular for like say a marathon, speed work for a marathon is half marathon pace essentially. Okay, like lactic threshold, like 10K is four times shorter than a marathon. So like you'd hope you could run a 10K a lot faster than you could run a marathon. So that being said, then running 10K pace for a minute, say, if you do 10 by a minute at 10K pace, that's speed work for the marathon. We don't need to do, and say even similar for a half marathon, 10K pace is half the distance. So it's still that like speed work. So you don't need to be going like when you're doing the minutes or 400s, like absolutely really hard. You just need it to be faster than where you're going to race at, so that your body feels comfortable at that race pace. It's not going into a 13-mile race or a 26-mile race, and that's kind of the fastest it's run at. It'll just feel very hard very early on. A thing with speed, which people actually don't really understand, is speed work is not for the end of the race. Speed work is for the start of the race. The aerobic stuff that you're talking, the half marathon intervals and the longer stuff, that's for the second half of the race, and you need that because you'll blow up. The speed work is for the start of the race. It's for when you come out that you're not feeling that you're sprinting from the start. You're feeling like, okay, this is comfortable. I've run faster than this. So my advice would be to keep both of them in. And if you were on the call and you said to me, well, I get injured when I do the sprinting stuff, and I seem to be able to handle the longer efforts, I would say you need to just like go much easier. I give this advice to Laurie all the time. Go much easier on your shorter stuff. Just because you can go faster, you should always feel, if you're someone who's getting injured doing that stuff, you should feel like 80%. You should feel like, okay, if I could run this 1 minute, like, I feel like I could do 20. You should feel like I can do 20 of these 1 minutes when you're doing 10 of them. Okay. Or a better way actually of doing it is, I was doing it today. So I said, I'm getting ready for this 1500 meters. I haven't ran 1500 meter speed in about two plus years. So I need to get used to that. Again, as you said, I'm like aerobically strong, like 5K, I do fine. But if I go in having not ran at 1500 meter pace, what's going to happen is when I start, it's not the end of the race I'm worried about, because my aerobic will kick in and I'll grind it out. the start will feel like I am actually sprinting, and it'll be ridiculous. It'll be very hard to get comfortable. So I did a couple, like a session last week on Friday, and I've done another one today at kind of 1500-meter pace, maybe slightly faster. Now, because I was running scared, because I'm not used to doing 1500-meter work, you actually tend to go out a bit faster. You're like, oh, I better push. So what I started doing was, in my mind, going, okay, let's go double the distance. So when you're coming up, rather than kind of pushing, there's the line, or like, oh, I'm 50 seconds in, I can go. Just go, what would you do if you had to run for 2 minutes? Now, don't run for 2 minutes, but that'll switch you. If you're 45 seconds into a 2 minute effort, you're not pushing harder. You're probably relaxing a lot more. If you're 30 seconds into a 2 minute interval. So if I was doing 10 by a minute, say that was on the plan for whatever reason, in my head, and if I was someone who tends to get injured when they're doing the faster stuff, I wouldn't not do the faster work. I would consciously try to go slower on it to feel much more relaxed, because it's still going to be faster than the other work you're doing, but you're not forcing it. I find that sometimes people force this stuff too much. And if I was struggling with that, I would consciously try to not force it. And in my mind, I'd be like, okay, I'm doing double the distance. So today I was doing 200s. And what I did was, in my head, I was like, when you're coming through on the 100 meters left, imagine you had 300 meters left. It just means that you don't start sprinting and working overly hard. Because, like, I hope I don't know if I'm going in circles here a little bit, but for me, right, because I'm saying that, like, I'm doing it at 1500 meters. What I don't want to, so I need to get some of the speed in, but what I don't want to do is absolutely zap myself. My body's not used to that type of work. So if I start really pushing here, I could get injured in the training. Okay, so I just need to get some kind of stimulus. Like, even if I'm a second or 2 seconds slower than I normally are per 400, I'm still getting closer to what it is. And then I'm hoping that, like, adrenaline and stuff will get me through on the day. So that's the same. Just make sure that if it's one that you tend to break down or you tend to get injured doing that stuff, consciously go slower on it. Try to be very relaxed doing it. And in your head, double up the distance. If you were doing 400-meter reps, for example, go out thinking, okay, if I had to do 800, like visualize yourself continuing to go. Even as you come over the line, you should nearly be running another 5 meters and then stopping and going, yeah, okay, I could have kept going for another lap. That will rein you back in, because that's what I see sometimes when people are doing longer distances, and then they see in our plans. I'll bring up the plan. This is one of the older plans, but you can just get an example of the thing I was a little bit worried that you were saying was like, oh, if I do longer reps instead of the shorter reps, will I still get the best? It's like, it should have both. It should have a lot of distance. So say you don't have to run 6 days a week. I would cut out the days I would do is Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday generally as 3 minimum. And then you could either run on a Monday or a Tuesday. You could either run on or the Thursday. You can Monday, Tuesday, Thursday would be up. But for example, right, here's an example. So you do 5 by 7 minutes at zone 3. So that's marathon pace. Building that aerobic. So that's slower than the half marathon pace. But what we did then was the number 3 and number 5 rep, we do 30 on and 30 steady. Now, again, the 30 on here is not super fast. It's just a pickup. And then the steady, it shouldn't be like a complete jog, because again, we're getting ready for a longer distance. So we're getting used to marathon pace, and they're 6 weeks out. So they would have been doing this for they would have just done 5 by 7 straight to get used to it. And what I like to do is that third one, you should be hitting the same distance roughly as you're hitting with the other ones. So we don't want to get way longer distances. We don't want to get way shorter. Excuse me. So that's an example of just a general pickup, maybe to like 10K type pace, and then slow it down. We're not like slowing down crazy, but we're not sprinting either. We're just picking it up a little bit slowing it down a little bit, getting the body used to moving. Then this would be a kind of long run session. So 30 minutes easy, 6 minutes at zone 2, then 6 minutes at zone 2, and then zone 2, zone 3 for 6 minutes, and then 4 minutes steady jog. So again, this is kind of a pickup, steady jog by 4 or 5. So basically this is the long run session. You're doing 30 minutes in the middle, and then you're doing 6 minutes or like basically a mile at like zone 2, zone 3, and then 4 minutes back into your normal jogging, and then 15 minutes easy at the end. So basically what we're looking at here is a kind of long run session where you just get used to, when you're tired, can you still kind of run half marathon or marathon effort, and then 50 minutes easy, just because that's a long run session. Now, so there's 2 kind of aerobic type sessions. Then this one, 5 is out, is like 10 to 14 minutes at zone 3. So again, you see we're topping up. That's going to be 2 miles plus at marathon pace. And then 2 by 4 or 5 minutes, depending on your level of lactic threshold pace, which essentially is 10K, 10-mile pace, so closer to the kind of half marathon type stuff. So very bulky. But then we're doing 4 or 5 by 1 minute on, 1 minute easy. And again, for that person, all we have to do for those minutes on is be slightly faster. So say, for example, they were hitting 5-minute Ks for the 2 by 4 minutes. I'll do 2 by 5 minutes. So say they're quite strong. They did a 5-minute K, and that was right within their heart rate. Then 1 minute on, just do the minute at like 4:40 per K or 4:50 pace per K, and then an easy jog. So it's just something that, like, when you run, say if you're going to try your half marathon at 5:10 per K pace, that doesn't feel like you're absolutely sprinting, because all you've done is like 5:30 pace stuff in training, or a bit of 5:10 pace in training. That we have a range where, well, I ran 4:40 pace and it didn't feel too bad. So that when you start the race, it's like, okay, I can get into this and I can settle. And then again, same idea here. So this is still very bulky. That's where I was a bit worried, where the person's saying, like, if I do my longer stuff, it's like you need it all, and it's about structuring it correctly then. So say, and 2.5 minutes between the sets there. Here we do 90-second hill, 60-second hill, 30-second hill. And I'm looking to improve the power, because I'm going to have a long run here the day after. We do want to get some turnover in the legs. Now, again, as I said, if Laurie is here, I absolutely love Laurie. Like, she's my the number one person on these podcasts, so she's usually here. But she'll give a comment, Laurie, if you're listening back. And I hope you didn't mind me saying this. Like, I'm saying it to her all the time. Where, especially on hills, she goes hatchet on them. She really goes super fast. So, if I was doing this and I was the person, I'd be like, okay, if I had to do it for a 3-minute hill, have it in my head, I'm doing a 3-minute hill. You're not going to start sprinting a 3-minute hill hard. And then a 2-minute, but stop after 90 seconds. You jog back, you do 60 seconds up. So you just go, where was I when I passed the 30-second mark? Go back to there. And then where was I when I passed the 30-second, or the 6, when I did 60, where was when I halfway. So you're just getting an idea how far to jog back on the hill. And then after the 30-second hill, you've got a longer recovery where you jog back to the very start. And we do 3 or 4 sets of that. It's actually a hard session. But the idea there is just getting a little bit of power in the legs. So, and then we'll have our long run here. Now, again, that actually links with the next one. I can't make the Q&A, but I have a question. I'm following your half marathon plan. Thanks for the plan. My half is in 8 weeks. Where should I be in relation to my long runs? And what is the most I should get the miles in, or time? Okay, so 8 weeks is still a decent bit out. It would depend on what your level is. I wouldn't be going up more than like 5 or 10 minutes per week. But I'd be hoping that you at least at, say, 60 minutes. And if we can get to 100 minutes, 120, that's absolutely brilliant. I would be delighted with that. So if you can get up, say if you're at 90 minutes, can we go to 100 as we're following it, So basically what you want to do is, especially if Sheila's asking that, you might be used to doing a half marathon. You don't need to cover the half marathon distance in the training. Now, for a lot of people, they will. It's not that big an ask. But I would rather someone cover this and see if they're only hitting like 10 miles in this, that'd be fine. What? Whoa. So say they're only that got me there. Say they were only covering 10 miles in 100 minutes or 120 minutes, and that's what they got up to. That's fine. What's more important is that the long run has hit the distance that you expect to be out for the half marathon. So if you're expecting a 2-hour half marathon, what we'd want to be doing is, so if you're expecting a 2-hour marathon, you'd want your long run to be 2 hours. Now, again, you're not going to cover obviously 13 miles in that, but you might cover 9 or 10. And then if you have the other work, the sessions, the workouts are going to be, if you're up to 5 by 7 minutes with 15 minutes of a warm up or 15 minutes of a cool down, you're starting to cover a lot more appropriate distance throughout the week. And you're going to be getting like more aerobically fit. It's going to set you up better, because sometimes what can happen with people is like they target a race, and I think it's important to target a race, but they kind of forget like there should be other races afterwards. Like it shouldn't be this half marathon I'm never running again. It should be this half marathon and maybe I'll go back to 5Ks, maybe I'll go back to 10Ks. And to be fair, like I'm actually not interested in I'm doing one race in my life, because I don't believe in that. I don't like the things where people are like, I did a marathon, I'm never running again. It's sad. Like I helped my brother, and got like, he's away now, so I'm going to get him back going. But like, he had a goal of breaking like 20 minutes for a 5K. Now he's fit. Now, look, this actually, to be fair to Killian, because I've started this, he had that goal and then he moved on. He's back doing the gym and stuff like that. So that's actually completely fine. I actually like that. He's like, I have a new goal, I'm going to do that. So if that's the case, absolutely fine. But if it's like, I'm just going to do this and then kind of stop exercising, or if you're going to a different type of exercise, actually I have no problem with that. But sometimes people have the goal and it's nearly like, oh, well, I need to get this bit. And it's like, well, this bit should be, yes, we want to run PBs, and people, Monica's here all the time. She's run PB after PB after PB. But when she came initially, she had an injury to sports Pilates. And then obviously that got better. And then she's like, I want to go do a marathon. And she ran a really good marathon time. But then rather than wait for the next marathon, it's like, okay, let's get your 5K better. Let's get your 10K better. And she followed those plans. And then she did another marathon and she got better, and she's sub like 3:30 now. But it's not like we're resetting. So by the time she came back for the second marathon plan, she had a nice build into 5K work with a long run of 90 minutes. And all the other stuff is improving. So what I'm saying that is, the short answer to your question is, try get the minutes of your long run up to your predicted half marathon time. So if you're predicting, but only go up 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so if you're predicting a 2-hour half marathon, ideally, and again, I wouldn't stretch to do it. If I was only at, say, 70 minutes a week with 8 weeks out, I would go 80 minutes, 90 minutes, maybe 95, and then I go back to 70 minutes on that fourth week, the down week. Like, and if you're following the training program, I'll be in there. But I would be just building it up to, then it go maybe like 100, 110, 120. Like that would be, and then I would start tapering back down. That's what I would do. And that would be if I want to hit a 2-hour half marathon. Okay, I mightn't have hit 13 miles in that time, but I've done the time on feet is not going to be a big deal. I've been out for a 2-hour run. I've got used to taking a gel or maybe 2 gels when I've been out for a run, and I feel confident I can run for 2 hours. And then you just run faster on the day and you have all the other stuff done. But bigger, the bigger answer, this is why we do long form podcasts, because that's a short answer and that would talk about 3 minutes. But the bigger answer is, yeah, don't sacrifice all the other stuff in the program, say, for be like crap, because I need to now overload this long run. So if you were at, just for example, say you were at 60 minutes, and you're like, oh my God, it's 8 weeks and I have this half marathon, you'll get around it. Like, you'll be able to walk a little bit if you need to. You'll be, if you're doing the program, you're going to be fit, even if the long run isn't that long. You'll get around it. So I'd still go like 60, 70, 80, say, and 60, say if you were 50 and then it was 60, 70, 80, I go back down to 60 and then 90, 100. And say you're like, it's going to take me 2 hours and my max long run has been 100 minutes. That's fine. I would much rather that and sacrifice you doing, like, oh, maybe if I had a like really forced that long run, ran a little bit better in that marathon, half marathon, I would much rather you go, you know what, I feel like I still have a bit to go there. Take like a down week of 1 or 2 weeks and then maybe focus on like a 5K or 10K block, but keep the long run at like, say, 90 minutes or 70 minutes, 80 minutes, that kind of range, so it's not that big a deal to start jumping back up again. And have much better structure in your training, having some of the sprints like we had there, like the hills, and having some of your aerobic runs, having your Pilates in there. It just sets you up for much longer success, because there are other races. When the half marathon's done, you'll cool down and you'll be like, geez, that was a great like race. But then it'd be like, okay, now what? And you just don't want to have it. I see some people and it's kind of like panic build for this one race. Like, say, okay, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, build for this marathon. And then they're taking like 2-3 months off. Then they're assing around for a while. And then it's like, all right, we're back to the summer of 2026 and let's build hard again for the 4 months. And it's like, you know what? If you can get where you enjoy the training, it's much more rounded. You have the structure, even if it might be next year where you're doing really well in your half marathon, you're going to have such better success long-term doing that by just doing the things. So I would say, look, keep the faith, do the program, only don't increase your long run by more than 10 minutes. Once you get up to the time that you'll be out there for. So if you think the marathon's going to take you 90 minutes or 100 minutes, like, rule of thumb, I'm trying to get everybody up to about 120 minutes. And then, but you can see every second week, I'm not even concentrated on the long run time on feet. I'm concentrated on more of making it a session. Say, for example, I won't put it back on a screen, but just that one was 30 minutes easy. And then it's, say, by 5, you got 50 minutes. So it's 30 minutes easy. Then it's 6 minutes at, say, zone 3, zone 2, zone 3, with 4 minutes steady. So that's 10 minutes of a rep by 4 or by 5, depending on your level. So say like by 5, that would be 50 minutes. So that's 80 minutes. And then we have 15 minutes easy cool down. So that's 80 minutes. That's 95 minutes as a workout. The following week's an easy week. Then it's a long run session 3 weeks out, which is like 110 minutes, 50 or 60 easy. And then the last 45 minutes is alternating 3 minutes on at zone 2 or zone 3, and then 2 minutes steady. So going up, coming back down, keeping that going. And then there's 5 minutes easy at the end. So we're getting used to, just running when tired, basically. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that was a too hard a session 1 week out. Okay, so see, criticizing my own training there a week out. It's like 2 weeks out, they're still doing a hard session. I'd probably cut that out. I probably did that for the marathon block. Mike or Marie, do you have any questions then? Hopefully all that made sense, or any comments on that, or?
Yeah, no, thanks Thanks, Owen. That made sense. I've one
Oh,
question for
nice.
you. I'm following the marathon plan, and it's great. I'm enjoying it. I've done my first week. On the Monday, is it an easy run or lactate? It said lactate and easy on the thing, and I'm wondering. I'm just about to head out to do the other recovery run today,
No,
but
Monday should be easy.
Monday should be easy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Grand.
Always Monday should be easy. And
And what
then, but you can switch things around. But like, say, yeah, Monday should be easy. Tuesday basically should be easy. Wednesday should be the workout.
Wednesday's a workout?
Thursday,
Yeah,
yeah. But if, say, for example, Mike, that you find that like um Tuesday works better for you, no problem. Just and
yeah,
I only want like 3 days between the workouts. So for example, if it say you work from home or something on a Friday, you might want to go
yeah,
Tuesday, Friday, take your easy day Saturday, and then for the marathon, the long run is kind of hard, so you can do
yeah,
have a day between the workout and the long run. That might
yeah.
work better. So as long as there's kind of 2 3 days between the workouts, I'm happy. Yeah.
Perfect. That's
But
great.
yeah,
Thank
that
you.
shouldn't have been lactic. Yeah. And just anytime you're unsure of that, just like send a message in and we can answer that straight away.
No, that's spot on. I wouldn't have been able for it, but the
No,
easy one I
no,
did.
no. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So, but anyone who's following our plans, guys, just remember it, even if it's written down in your head, it should be Wednesday, Saturday,
Wednesday,
and then
Saturday,
our long
and
run
long one.
Sunday. Or you could go Tuesday, Friday for the workouts or the sessions, day easy on the Saturday, and then go long run on a Sunday.
Yeah. No, the Wednesday, Sunday looks good. No, that's perfect, Don. Thank you.
Great. And you're finding okay. What week are you
I,
into?
I'm well, I'm for Dublin, so I suppose I'm maybe 15, 14 weeks out, but I only
Yes.
just started it.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So I found it good, interesting and different, especially the Wednesday. And probably took the Saturday a little bit too hard. Listen to
Yeah.
what you said there. I probably went a bit bananas with some of those, the 1990s, 60s and the
Yes.
15s. But
Yeah.
I'll dial them back because I did
Dial
feel it.
yeah, dial them back. They're
Yeah.
more, yeah, that's really good, Mike. So what we want to do with that is it should feel like we don't want to feel like we're absolutely zonked with that. We want to feel more like we're
That you can drive
practicing.
on and
Yeah,
keep
we're
going
practicing
for
good
more
form. Yeah,
form.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all we're doing with that, especially
Yeah.
for a marathon. The rest of the stuff is kind of too bulky. So we just want to
Yeah.
spice ourselves up. So any of the minutes on, the things I used to say to myself were looking good, feeling easy. That's what I want to kind of
Yeah.
feel. So yeah, looking good, feeling easy. That's the kind of key thing that I'm like if someone was watching me, it looks like God, he's flying, but I'm in myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm really
Yeah.
easy here.
Running within yourself a little bit,
Yeah,
but with nice structure.
especially for the slightly faster stuff.
Yeah.
Let me see when I'll be in my team now. Mike Byrne. Did you get a lactic test on Mike?
I think I will because I'm trying to judge my paces and I'm off pace as well because last year I was maybe quicker and I went through an off season period of detraining. So
Yeah,
I'm kind of
yeah,
adding
definitely
20,
don't.
30 seconds a mile on at the
Yeah,
moment
and
and I might
do it
come
off
around.
RPE then. Try do it rather than try get in
Yeah,
for a lactic session because
I will. I
it does
think,
make a big difference.
yeah, that's my
Yeah.
next plan, actually.
Yeah, and you have the zone 3, zone 4 I was literally chatting about. So those minutes on, minutes off, yeah, they
Yeah,
shouldn't be like super hard. They should be more like just a little bit quicker than the zone 4 work. But
yes,
yeah, I would get a lactic threshold test if you can.
I will
It
do that
just like you
because
are
I'm a,
5 minute 10 per K. Yeah, you are fast. And then the long run you were actually hitting it. Yeah, so I like the
yeah.
way you're doing it, that like you're doing it nicely where if the long, oh my God, are you up to a 17-mile long run already?
I threw in a few extra miles just out of because I would have been used to doing that maybe.
Yeah.
In previous rounds, I would have done advanced marathoning, and there would have been a bit of extra miles on the long run. But it was easy. The pace wasn't too crazy. It was more
Yeah.
kind of time.
Keep it at that. Yeah. You
Yeah,
don't have
it
to go
was.
crazy because what we will have,
It
and I
will build,
suppose
I
we're
guess.
early. Yeah, it'll be built in, and then it'll be in it'll be in the kind of marathon sessions. We'll put that into it. But yeah, the fact you're
Perfect.
up to that already, that's actually brilliant.
No, that's good. That's good.
Don't go yeah, I think
Uh,
definitely then getting the for your level, getting the thing done is great. Just look down the plan as well. Say like August 9th, looking to try get like a 10-mile race somewhere or around that
yeah,
time,
I'll
and
build
we can
that
just
in.
we can just adjust it. If it's the week before, it's the week after, like is no problem. Same then try get something booked in for like where do I have? Trying to look at I'm just looking at your plan now. What miles? I must be here then. Oh yeah, half marathon. I hate this now. I don't know what I did to my freaking calendar where the Sunday is over on the freaking thing. But yeah,
Oh,
half marathon. Then yeah, it's so
yeah,
annoying, isn't it?
I'll find there's a few local, so I'll definitely be able to.
Yeah,
There's a couple, there's y'all, and there's a few others around the area. So
ideal. Yeah, so just have that booked in. But no, everyone else looks good there. Going easy, especially if you've gone a little bit harder on your Sunday, which isn't. I'm definitely not against that.
yeah,
But yeah, just don't be killing yourself on it either, because we can
yeah,
build it in nicely. But if we're up to that already, so just say on the long runs, right? If you are used to doing that type of work, like just keep it at the 17, 18 miles. Don't be like,
yeah.
and
Don't
then we
drive it
could,
up any further.
yeah, I wouldn't think
Yeah,
we need to go bananas. Like if we're getting a couple of 20 milers, like if you want to actually like, if you're comfortable with it, like topping out at 20 miles,
yeah. I
that's
wouldn't go any further than that. Anyway. That's
exactly. And what
yeah.
I'd rather do is message me, Mike, or on this, what we'll do is we'll switch a 20 miler, an 18 miler into a workout. That would be a better
That'd
use of
be
your time.
that'd be cool. Actually, maybe a structured long run. That'd be
Yeah, they're
a
in
nice
it
way to break
as
it
we
up.
go. Once we start building, because usually, just depending on where they're at, like some
Yeah,
people, I kind of build them back up to better runs, and then we start going every second week. Because,
right.
but for you, if you're used to, we could do even three. We could go Tuesday, Friday, and then do a kind of long run session on the just every second week. But look, we'll
We'll
build it
work it
in.
through.
We'll
Thread it
work it
in.
out. Yeah. Let me know how it goes because it's great just to get
I
the
will.
feedback,
I
Mike,
will.
and
I'm
putting it in. Yeah, because then we can
enjoying
kind
it
of
so far
adapt.
anyway. It's nice to do something
Yeah.
different. So
Yeah,
I
and be
have
good stimulus for the body, honestly.
yeah, I have to bounce. I'm strap the young one to training,
Brilliant.
but
Great. Yeah. Enjoy.
thanks, Owen. I'll be
See you.
back in touch.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it. Bye bye.
Great. Marie, do you have any questions? Are we done? Happy to go? Okay. See you guys. Thanks a million. Really enjoyed that.